30 years ago. Let's go back to your time on campus at Florida State. You were in Greek life and you were a business management major. Did the dream of owning a fast-rising coffee company enter your mind then, or were you like every other college kid trying to figure it out? Your time at Florida State to now, how did those two things tie together?
Great question. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be doing this and being with you. This question's a great question. I get some other questions on this. How did you get started? Is sort of what happened. What does FSU have to do with it? I actually started a paper route back when I was 8 years old. So running my own business as a little snot-nosed kid riding his bike delivering papers back in the day where you did that and you actually had to collect money from the customers. And then when I was in high school, my brother and I had what's called a seal coating business, seal coating asphalt driveways and parking lots, and we were in northern Indiana, so it's seasonal. It was only during the summer months that we did that. So I guess it started early, the entrepreneurial side. The answer on the Florida State side is I got a degree in business, and which is a great degree. But when you graduate from a college with a business management degree, you technically have a degree in nothing. You have to have experiences to carry that out. I had a background in economics, or I had a background in accounting, or I had a background in insurance, real estate, a little bit, but no specialization. So it's not like, hey, I'm going to go manage your company when I leave this place.
Right.
So to answer your question, well, no. I mean, it was let's get a degree and sort of see where the corporate career.
How did you get here from northern Indiana?
I actually came through junior college from Palm Beach Community.
Okay.
Or Palm Beach Junior College.
Sure.
I've been at PBJC.
Yeah.
And my parents, I'm not a very intelligent individual from a grade standpoint, so they said, you can get, any place you can get into, you can go. So it's a pretty safe bet.
Sure.
And I was looking at Florida, Texas, and California. I was like, I'm done with the snow.
Okay.
And had a connection down in Palm Beach and decided to go down there. And as an athlete in high school for all seasons, I spent a lot of time in physical therapist offices. So I really wanted to be a physical therapist. Palm Beach Community College had a pre-physical therapy program. Then there was a track to University of Florida. And then as a young, naive individual, you finally do some research and you realize getting into physical therapy school is harder than med school. Fun fact, on the alumni side in Florida State, Florida was on probation in all sports.
Charlie Poe.
Yeah. And I only had 2 years of college left, and I wanted to have a good college experience. So I came to Florida State side and see strictly because I want to have an athletic.
Most of us would agree that experience passing Gainesville side unseen is a good call too.
So I changed from pre-physical therapy into business and came to Florida State sight unseen. And it's one of those faith God things that led me here, and it was the perfect plan.
So you get the business management degree, nothing,
Nothing.
and you go into sales at a linen company.
Correct.
And you do that. How does that translate into how does that impact your journey here?
So I was 7 or 8 years with National Linen Service, and then I got transferred over to Atlanta International Council Department. It was ended up downsizing in that company, and then I went to work for Royal Cut Coffee out of Birmingham. And I was with them for 7 or 8 years in Atlanta, and I ran their route operations for their food service coffee division. That still got me into coffee.
Okay.
But the commonality of all that is they were route businesses. They were businesses that delivered their product to the customer in the hospitality industry. So it was all restaurants, hospitals, hotels, nursing homes, country clubs. And I used that route system to build our model for what we do now in the coffee industry.
And you're vertically integrated.
Correct.
You're one of the few businesses that doesn't need anyone else on the outside for the most part, for what you do.
Right.
To those who are either novices or don't understand what that term means, what does vertically integrated mean and how does it apply to Lucky Goat Coffee?
Okay. Simply, it means that all the products or services that we use or utilize in our 5 cafes come from our own company, come from our distribution company, our service company, and our equipment company. It's all one umbrella. We're distributors of syrup, sauces, frapping mix, smoothies, cups, lids, all this stuff that cafes need. That's actually how we started the business 16 years ago. So we started in 2005, and 2010 is when we started roasting coffee. So we weren't a coffee company first, we were a wholesale route distribution company.
Okay, so you're doing all of those things. There's a million different directions that could go.
Correct.
And yet you chose coffee as the how do you said lids, you've got machines, you've got all this route business. You could run a business just on route, on running a distribution.
We were.
How did you take it to coffee?
Part of it was the economics, part of it was just, obviously coming from Atlanta, a major metropolitan city, it's a different marketplace than coming to Tallahassee, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't have a customer base. In Atlanta, you could go and have thousands of customers right in the metro area. We're having to go to Marion, we're having to go to Dothan, we're having to go to Albany, Valdosta, Tifton, all these rural places around us within 100, 150 miles, just to deliver product.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of coffee was, we're in the industry, I've been in the industry for over 10, 15 years, let's roast coffee and distribute coffee into our route system or our existing customers. I can honestly say I love doing these podcasts and I love telling our story because we're more than a cafe.
Right.
So the answer on this sheet of paper is I've never wanted to own a cafe, never wanted to run a cafe. We were a wholesale distribution business that had all the assets, all the groundwork, everything to do it. So why vertical integration? We go to market cheaper with the product, we go to market cheaper with equipment and opening up, so why not open up a retail shop?
And your first one was on Capitol Circle?
First one was on Capitol Circle, correct.
And you've expanded all the way north into Village Square on Thomasville Road. We're at your location right now on South Adams.
Correct.
Where else are you? Because this has now become the IT brand in Tallahassee. There are locals who will pass a national chain to go to Lucky Goat. Talk about how you've taken that into the cafe experience, and even in the midst of a pandemic, gone from 1 to 5. How do you do that?
The story started in 2005. We started in Tallahassee wholesale distribution. In 2010, we started roasting coffee. 2015 is when we actually opened up our first retail shop. Was at the entrepreneurial school, Jim Moran, doing a growth management class speech in February of 2020, and I was telling this story because I was really excited what 2020 would bring. So what actually has happened though is we have 5 stores in Tallahassee, and then we now have a franchise location in Jacksonville. So we're going to start expanding the brand outside of Tallahassee into new markets, and we have partners over in the Destin, Fort Walton, 30A area that operate under their own name but sell our brand.
You mentioned February of 2020, and of course 6 weeks later, everything changed. For those who are customer facing, your distribution business probably could have lasted without a lot of change in a grand sense. But for those cafes, how did you survive when masks and distancing and everything came about? What was the biggest change you noticed?
To answer that question, first and foremost, there is no class, there is no book to read on how to survive the pandemic. There will be thousands written. Mm-hmm. So we're all in the same boat. No one knew what to expect. We were expecting 50% reduction in business. We were thinking that the pandemic would be over in 2 weeks to a month. We're hitting summertime in Tallahassee, which is a slow time for most retail businesses in town. So we had a game plan that says, let's just get back to the fall. The Leon County schools go back in, FSU students are back in, and we should be back to what was quote normalcy. What we actually learned from it was coffee's essential. That people still wanted to have a cup of coffee. So we had to shut down our seating to the public, but we were able to stay open for grab and goes, and we were, to use the popular term pivot, adding new items and things to our mix, which is a whole other segment, but we didn't know if that was going to be a short-term process or if it would stick. And we've actually found it's stuck. So we're still learning this process, but it was a very, no one knew what was going on. It was obviously a very difficult time, but we were blessed and we made it through. And it's difficult to say in a public forum on a podcast with hopefully thousands of people listening, but we did really well. We're in an industry of hospitality that got smacked, especially in Tallahassee, in the college town, the campus and the college kids bolted out of town. Those businesses around campus really suffered. The location we're in right now, which is South Adams, we actually opened up in February of 2020. We were open for 5 weeks, and we shut it down. fortunate we could do that. We kept this location pretty much shut down until fall, until everything got back in the mix. And we just now really got back up and running in the last 6 weeks to 4 months, basically.
Yeah, 2 weeks of flat curve.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah. Right.
You mentioned, astutely that there was no book written for this, and there will be thousands written after, and everybody had to figure it out on their own. That had to have taken a skill set. You mentioned your entrepreneurial, spirit started at 8 years old with a paper route. Where did Florida State, what did it teach you that you carried into the last 2 years and carried into development of all of this business?
Great question. I don't think I can answer that because it would take a lot of thought. I mean, to really dissect it, but I mean, I sort of alluded, I got a degree in business management, which was a degree in nothing but a little bit of discipline and everything. So it teaches you problem solving skills. It's like, okay, if accounting's not working for you, go management or go marketing. So how do you use those tools? Basically, it's, I think Florida State teaches you things because you have a class, you have to go through it, you get an accomplishment, and you're completely driven to do it. Well, the drive to get through the pandemic is to survive. So some people in college, it's like, I just want to survive and get through this.
Sure.
And when your back's up against the wall or a business situation, it's like, how do I get my people and my business through this at whatever it's going to take that's morally ethical and legal to do. So sometimes, Keith...
Maybe that out of classroom experience helped you more?
Yeah, I think the experiences through life and just not wanting to lose and getting determined to figure out how to solve the problem.
Sure.
And persevere through it, which are life skills.
No doubt.
So I would hope FSU taught me that because I think that's what we want our kids to learn. Yes, we want accountants, doctors, lawyers, and all that type of stuff, but if you can't solve a problem, you can't work through it to lead people or accomplish a goal, what do you do? And college is accomplishing a goal.
You mentioned kids. You have 3 of your own. You married a Seminole. How do you stay engaged with Florida State? I know you're a booster member, you're an alumni association member. You're at Doak Campbell all the time. How do you stay involved with Florida State?
Well, it's very simple. It's a large part of our customer base comes from Florida State. We have 75 employees right now, and I probably wager 40 of them, if not 50 of them, are Florida State students.
Okay.
So we're very tied to that. We do a lot with, we used to do a lot more with the Devon School, and we're doing some wine tasting and some coffee classes over there that we participate in. I mentioned I do some with the Jim Moran School. I like to go over there and just tell our story to kids. I get a lot of calls, and every single one of them I take and follow up on. People doing a project, whatever their report's on or whatever, and because we're
Some kid in a business management degree where you were 30 years ago.
I've had marketing business management degrees, entrepreneurial people, and they just need an interview. And I'm like, come on in. So whatever we can do to give back in that form or fashion, it's been a lot of fun. But when you're in town and you live here, it's hard not to.
Absolutely.
To do stuff.
It's absolutely woven into the fabric of our community. Congratulations, by the way, of being on the Seminole 100, fastest rising 100 alumni-owned businesses. That's we're looking forward to that coming up in the spring. And what a fantastic honor that is. So for our alumni nationwide, and in this case worldwide, who want to support the Seminole and a local-owned business and get better than the chain brands with the big apps, how do they get your product?
Well, we're obviously online, LuckyGoCoffee.com. That was a huge byproduct of the pandemic. Is that business segment really changed and we really refined it? We got a lot better at it. And it's sticky, so we're happy. Because everybody knew online e-commerce was going to grow, but as a small company, when you're
what percentage of your business is online as opposed to in the 5 cafes?
That's a great question. It's probably only like 5%.
Really?
But that one market segment has grown 4 times since the pandemic started. So we see a lot of growth.
It's here to stay.
Yeah, it's here to stay. It's almost become enough revenue like a store.
Okay, as if it's your 6th location, it just exists online.
Right. Actually, our marketing people call it our sixth location.
How do you have future expansion plans?
We do. The goal is to try to get the brand outside of Tallahassee. We've done well in the local market, so now we'll grow. I think with our alumni base, it is. When we went over to Jacksonville, we got a huge response over there.
15,000 alumni just in Duval County.
Yep. When we were, I love the stories. My daughter's at school at Rollins in Orlando right now, and she was at downtown Disney and ran into two people wearing up together shirts there.
Of course.
So it's sort of, I think there's some brand awareness, and that was part of the model is with the legislation here, the government workers and the college students and the transit community, they become exposed to the brand and then they can take that to it.
Sure.
So yeah, we're looking for some growth, but we got to do it smart.
Rapid fire to finish.
Yeah,
Garnet or gold?
I'm Garnet.
Beat Florida or beat Miami?
Florida all day long.
Correct answer. Favorite spot on campus?
I'm going with the Tucker Center.
Really?
Yeah.
Haven't heard that one. You're a big basketball guy, or
Well, you and I talked before this.
Yeah.
The campus has changed so much and lost.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you can't go down Woodward anymore.
No, we should try it. You don't look out.
The pool's not there. I mean, it's a whole different world. So I'll get in the middle of campus sometimes and be totally lost. So with the addition, with the FSU purchasing the Civic Center and the improvements they're doing there, it's good. I love Doak. You probably get Doak all the time.
Sure.
And we all know Doak is ready for some improvements. So once you're over 50, it's time to get off the bleachers.
That's the whole
Back and
4
forth.
hours.
Right, so that's why I picked the Tucker Center.
Good answer. Favorite FSU tradition?
Mine is Renegade, but you get that one before?
Yeah.
But that's personal. We're good friends with the Durhams and tremendous people, so.
Yeah. There's not many schools that have a family who have carried on that level of tradition since the year I was born. So we're plus 40 now, you know, and just generous and kind, and what an iconic representation of, you know, everyone in the country knows who that is.
Well, we're going back, I mean, on a personal level, it's I knew Alan in college, and he was in Atlanta when we were in Atlanta, and then we moved, basically, his family, our family moved back to Tallahassee at the same time in 2005, and his wife, Patty, was my wife, Brooke's sorority sister.
Okay.
So,
there's the FSU connection
so
right there.
when this question came up, this was an easy.
Okay, last one, and probably the most difficult for me. Florida State, a single word.
I just put down awesome. Awesome's my favorite word, but it's just an awesome place. Well, I know this is rapid fire, but to see what the university's done in the last 30 years, to see how it's changed, and going back before our time.
You and I wouldn't get in anymore.
Well, back when your mom was here,
Yep.
it was a women's school, or changing out of a women's school, and then when you and I were here, it was predominantly women, and us guys were trying to figure it was a great place to be, right? The ratio was good,
Yes.
and now we're looking at it like there's no way we can get into this place. And it's the academics and the growth and what's changing and the dynamics and where it's going. It's just cool to watch.
Absolutely.
For sure. So it's awesome.
Well, Ben, thanks for your time today on Echoes. Congratulations on the success. We want to tell everyone to go get their coffee at luckygocoffee.com, and best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.